Well, this is unfortunate news from the UK here. A psychologist, age 53, who worked at Tavistock Clinic, where they worked on kids who decided to identify as the other, gender, remains free to practice despite being caught grooming a schoolboy 15 for adult activities in a park. So a child psychologist at the controversial Tavistock Hospital Trust remains free to practice, despite being caught grooming a schoolboy. Dr. Ross Canade, something like that, was entrusted to treat youngsters' mental health as lead psychologist at the Tavistock and Portman NHS Foundation Trust, which became infamous for its gender clinic helping children to transition. Canada was snared by a group of self-styled, adults that like playground hunters in an online sting after he sent explicit messages to a youngster who told him he was age 15. The 53-year-old psychologist met up with this would-be victim in a Nando's restaurant, then arranged to go to a local park to, engage in adult stuff. The pair were ambushed, quote-unquote, by members of a vigilante group posing as friends of the youngster who had been monitoring their interactions, a court heard. Canada, I have no idea how to read this one. Pleaded guilty on July 29 to attempting to meet a child following adult grooming. On Monday, he was handed a 12-month suspended sentence by a judge at Wood Green Crown Court. Although he was spared jail, he was sacked by the Tavistock. However, the Mail can reveal that despite his conviction for, trying to do adult things with people too young for it, Dr. Canada, I have no idea, has not been suspended by the regulator which oversees his profession. Anyone wishing to hire him to treat vulnerable children would find that, according to the website of the Health and Care Professions Council, he remains registered to practice without any conditions. It is the council's job to keep the public safe from rogue psychologists. At the Tavistock, Dr. Canada specialized in treating children and adolescents with mental health issues known as CAMHS services. According to his profile on the LinkedIn website, he was the lead and highly specialist psychologist at the trust. It is understood he did not treat patients at the hospital's controversial gender clinic. So, presumably he wasn't working on people who had the gender thing, or was he just not persuading them, not giving them drugs, not cutting things? I apologize if you hear a bit of noise. On June 1st, he made contact with a youngster on a men who like men dating website, Grindr. His Crown Court sentencing hearing was told. Prosecutor Paul Fairley said Canada believed he was in contact with a 15-year-old boy and was unaware that a decoy profile had been set up and he was in fact speaking to an older person. The pair exchanged numbers, conversation quickly turned adult only, continued on WhatsApp. They talked about doing adult things in a park, and 5 days later they met up. And then the vigilante group basically surrounded that guy. The judge said, "You established he was inexperienced and there was discussion of doing adult things in a local park. He agreed to meet with the intention of doing these things. The guy is from Enfield, North London, the psychologist, given a 6-month suspended sentence to run concurrently after admitting to attempting to engage in adult conversation with a child. Both sentences were suspended for 18 months. So in a year and a half, he will basically be just like you or me, right? Paid his debt to society, essentially. Right now, he might get the additional sentence if he performs another illegal activity, but in a year and a half, basically as if nothing happened. What a punishment for, Archie Manby, defending, said Canada had been working in an incredibly high-pressure environment within the NHS as a clinical psychologist, but had now lost his employment and good character. Oh no. He said he had patients who he had been working with for some considerable time. The therapy with Mr. Kanade had to be immediately terminated. Good for them. I congratulate him on having escaped this, you know. The court heard that some of his patients had provided testimonials on his behalf. Well, if they've been with him long enough, perhaps he managed to, how to put it, give him a bit of Stockholm syndrome? I don't know, I shouldn't cast aspirations. Obviously, still, he did admit, you know, that he did this, so it's reasonable to suspect that he might have been less than professional with whatever patients he had before. I mean, that's the entire reason you're letting him go, right? Because he basically lost the public trust. He has shown himself to be untrustworthy, very much so, to be anywhere near kids, in my opinion. And the whole article is basically about the scandal that is to allow him to keep practicing as though nothing happened. The guy was also ordered to carry out 150 days of unpaid work, as well as complete 35 sessions of adult offenders rehabilitation course. I wonder if these work. Kanade had worked at the Tavistock Trust since August 2020, having previously worked there as a trainee in 2013 and 14. Sources at the trust said none of its patients were involved in the offending. Interesting, perhaps he was afraid of losing his job, who knows. A trust spokesman said, "We can confirm that the former trust employee has been convicted of offenses involving a minor. As soon as we were alerted to the police investigation, we suspended the individual, and subsequently he was dismissed." That's the way to do it, you know? When the allegations are made, you know the guy is being prosecuted, so you suspend him. You say, well, he might be dangerous, we will suspend him until we find out, and after he is convicted, then you let him go. That's the correct order of things. Too many times I've seen, especially people who are accused of wrong thing, they have the wrong political opinions, being immediately let go with just an accusation. I might not like this guy at all. I might say that I can't stand him, but I still think this is the correct order to do things, no matter the accusation. First, you investigate. He's innocent until proven guilty. In this case, he was accused of doing wrong things with minors, and he works with minors, specifically when he has a lot of power over them. He is a specialist, top specialist at Psychologist, and these are, you know, kids with mental health problems. So it made a lot of sense to suspend him in order to protect them in case he is truly dangerous. And once he is convicted, then you go and you know, let go of him. So that much, again, I might not like Tavistock at all, but at least they did things in the correct order this time. Perhaps because of what he was accused of. I mean, if he was accused of wrong thing, they might have immediately let him go, huh? Just personal opinion. The Health and Care Professions Council said this has been forwarded to the relevant department for their attention. I don't think there's any more. So essentially they're saying, we've moved this up the chain, but they're not defending the decision to let him keep practicing. Because honestly, who would? I mean, people have lost their licenses for less. I believe Jordan Peterson was forced to undertake all sorts of, you know, identity politics sessions in order to keep his license, after basically saying he disagrees with the modern left on how best to treat with people who want to identify as the opposite gender, stuff like that. It's just people who merely express unpopular or non-mainstream views are being, you know, fired all the time. And this guy is still fine after being convicted of trying to do that with a kid. I mean, I say a kid, 15 is a teenager, let's be fair to him. Still underage, still illegal, still creepy. Well, there it is. I hope that these kinds of stories get more attention, because I've seen, not just in the UK, that there's still not enough, how to put it, correction from the government and the Department of Justice for crimes against minors, specifically of adult nature. But also I saw the claims J.D. Vance made in the US vice president debate about how many, over 300,000 kids, I believe, that the system basically doesn't know where they are or what happened to them. They went into the country and then lost them. And obviously some of these might be exploited in a similar fashion. It's just, people keep saying, you know, think of the children. How about we actually do so in the ways that matter? I don't think there's anything that matters more than this. Just this and the health crisis epidemic, right? The two things that I'd say, like, protect kids from predators and protect kids from being poisoned by the food, the water, the environment when they're young and vulnerable in their formative years. You do those two things and things will improve rapidly and very significantly. Just my take. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time.